Welcome to the Soft Rebellion podcast, a homecoming to the creative power of your female body. Our world uproots us from the gifts of the feminine, the intuitive, the instinctual, the cyclical, the soft. What's the result? Patriarchal cultures of perfectionism, shame, and disconnect that leave us constantly running, never arriving. Imagine a world of women softly rebelling, claiming our cyclicity, our weirdness, and our rest as we each courageously cultivate a deep and delicious relationship to our female bodies. My name is Florina. I'm an osteopath, dancer, writer, and coach. I've been on my own journey sparked by an eating disorder to come home to the wild, poetic anatomy of my female body and awaken my creative power. And I invite you to join me and my guests, trailblazing teachers, healers, and creatives as we each reclaim our own soft rebellion. Hey, and welcome back to the podcast, and thank you so much for joining me today, and I'm so glad that you are here. It's Wednesday the 6th of November as I record this episode for you, and it will be released tomorrow, so it's freshly juiced. It's a big day today, right? A lot has happened in the world, in America, and I feel a bit discombobulated. I feel a wave of softly rebellious pain, and at the same time I'm just coming from a wonderful Instagram live with Sarah Robinson, who was a guest on a podcast and is the author of wonderful books, and together we explored the gifts of the witch, the kitchen witch, to de-shame our hunger and desires and to learn to honor our hunger and be desirous. So it was just so wonderful. I feel very nurtured by that, and I'm just enjoying how the soft rebellion is growing and spreading in the world. And this episode today is a powerful reminder that giving up is not a solution. And I record this as much for myself as for all of us and all of you. I got to know this place too well recently when waves of doubts and worries seemed to override what once felt like a burning fire committing to a deep desired project. And yes, those waves seem to override our fire, but do they really? No, I experience they do not. If we have the right tools at hand to meet the situation, ask this one and so important question, which I will talk about. So don't give up quite now and keep listening. You might indeed find yourself in a situation of what feels like hopelessness, not knowing how to go on, what to do next, feeling exhausted, fed up and tired, and all you want to do is give up and get that shop in the coffee shop across the road, which would be so much more straightforward and easy and blah. You might just have given up, in inverted commas, a job, a project, something you were following with so much heart or passion or not. And you might feel like you failed, be sad, disappointed about yourself. And I would like to tell you right now, there is no failing, just seeking. And you can take it on again, or you can move on. If I could only share one thing with you, it's that there is no failing, just seeking. A dear teacher of mine, that was his only comment recently when I felt like I failed. And maybe you think, what the heck is she talking about? Giving up? I would never give up, and I have never done so. And from wherever you're coming from, I so honor you taking the time listening to me. I hear you and I feel you from a distance, and I welcome you in the space of the soft rebellion. And just before you start, when we hear the words "don't give up," or maybe the very title of this podcast, "Giving up is not a solution," it easily can come across like "I know better" or "best," or "know what is right for you and what is not." And I don't. All I do is sharing from my lived experience, knowing that all we need is sharing our story and our lived experience, right? We live in a world where we don't need many more facts. We've been there. Thank you, Lisa Lister. And again, hearing these very words, giving up, don't give up, might trigger in you feelings of sadness, of grief, disappointment, and failure. And you might want to turn this episode off right away. And I invite you to stay whilst noticing what arises in you and being with those very feelings and sensations. So let's dive in. You might be smiling now. I am. You might have noticed recently on my podcast, my beloved podcast, The Soft Rebellion. Recently I've been talking a lot. I've been talking about our calling, burnouts. And today I'm talking about this desire to give up. And there is a theme going on. The theme of all those challenges and obstacles we meet when we start to really lean into our calling and bring our vision and dreams into physical manifestation. Yes, what I experience at the moment, there are so many gifts and there are so many bloody challenges and obstacles arising. Like I said, from burnout to wanting to give up to questioning one's calling to just the whole spectrum. And it sounds so romantic and poetic, and yes, we meet so many rocky stones along the way. Rocky stones which come with great love, gently nudging you even deeper into alignment with what it is you are meant to do and meant to be. And it's not an easy place to be, not for me. So I thought it might be for you neither, which is why I share this with you today. So I hope, I say that all the time and then it turns out to be a whole hour. I hope that this episode, I think will be short and sweet. A power talk and a reminder. An episode you can listen to over and over again when you need it. When this gunky voice is telling you, come on, just give up. But your heart screams, no, keep going. This is what I'm longing for. So if you meet this challenging place, then go back to this episode. Because the truth is that I was the one recently thinking, let's apply for that job in the coffee shop across the road. That would be so much more easy. Which it probably wouldn't, right? It would come with its own challenges and obstacles. But I actually did even take I did send the email, I did take the phone. I was very close, thinking, who cares about what I do with the Soft Rebellion? And if I could only share one thing with you today, then I want to tell you, don't give up. Don't give up. As simple and as sweet. Even if you don't know how and when and where, with great love and a cheeky smile, don't give up. If I could share more than one thing, it would be a very potent question to reflect upon. And to get to that question, let me go a step back and share with you how I got to that question, or who told me about that question. So at the moment, I'm embarking on two big and bold projects. Starting this podcast felt big and bold last August, and I feel when we say yes to this big and bold energy of brewing our creation, then oof. Once we start something, then the next thing is awaiting us. How much I keep holding the cards close to my chest, but I can say as much as it's a writing project and a research project. And during the whole summer, especially the months of August, I felt I've been in shoes. I was in nature. I really connected with inside. I felt aligned with something which is crucial, and we'll get back to there. But anyway, I spent the month of August in the Swiss mountains, and wow, I felt very aligned, attuned, connected to my very purpose, and connected to kind of the soul, the core of those projects. And then the summer came to an end. I got back to London. I'm based in Southeast London, and I arrived in, of course, a much busier world than the stillness of the Swiss mountains. I arrived back on, in inverted commas, you could say, reality. No, which is not true, but that's how it felt. There were things to sort out, very simple daily life things, busy life, and I actually suddenly struggled a bit to commit to these routines which I so nurtured during the whole summer. I literally did less movement and sport. I spent less time outside. I got to a very analytic and heady, sorting out place, busy, thinking more forward than right here to the present moment. And I got to a place with both those projects, the writing and the research, where waves of worries and doubts seemed to override any purpose of pursuing them. I literally got to that place where I felt, who the heck cares about me writing, cares about me researching? All I felt was, I'm not good enough. There is already so much of this or that. There are already so many people writing about this or researching that. Really, no one would notice if I didn't write or didn't research or didn't record this podcast episode. Who cares about an Instagram reel? Who cares about my story? You get a sense. I was falling into this turmoil and stream of all those thoughts, and it's strong. It's a real suction, right? And I could well have given up. And I trust I would have taken on again. But I reached out to my mentors. It's so important to have mentoring and supervision, right? I reached out to 2 mentors, and I had 2 mentoring sessions for both projects. And would you believe, very mystically and magically, both mentors brought me back to this one question. Both of them invited me to drop all the buts, ands, shoulds, shouldn'ts, she wants, he thought, they asked, and ask me, what is the research you want to do for yourself? What is the book you want to write? What is the essay? What is the story? What is the writing you want to write for yourself? What is the research which is asked from you? What is the writing which is just being asked, not from him and her and them? And this is the question both of them asked me within the course of literally 1 week. And both of them invited me to take a step back, to drop back and start from anew, from that place where it's so aligned with the writing I do for myself, with the writing or with the research I do for myself, because it's part of my very process and journey. And I want to say, my healing journey. Isn't that what our creation is about? And oh my, it felt like my inner child was waking up. It felt like she was getting a bloody microphone and starting to talk fast and loud and shamelessly what it is, what she wants to research or write or create or excuse me. It literally felt like she grabbed that microphone, asked me to sit down, just listen, and with so much ease and magic, she brought me back to the place where I've lost myself and where these big waves came in. By simply posing those two questions, of course to myself, but not even just to myself, to the field, to her. So the first thing was, if I could only share one thing, then don't give up. Just say yes, not to give up, with great love, a cheeky smile and trust. I tell you, these three are power ingredients. If I could share a second thing, then it would be, what is that writing, that research, that whatever, which you are called to do for yourself? For a moment, forget about the whole context around and drop back, remember, and ask your inner child, give her the microphone. So yeah, maybe you are planning a course, a retreat, a program, a product, a painting, a drawing, a choreography, whatever, it doesn't matter. But let me ask you, what is it? What is, let's stay with the course, what is the course you're asked, you want to hold for yourself? And you would hold from A to Z, even if you would be the only person attending. That's quite powerful. When we ask this question, we align again with our fire, our needs, our calling. We align inside rather than trying to accommodate to the external world and please everyone around us, apart from yourself. And of course, if we create things, we want to find that sweet spot where our very skills and gifts meet the needs of others, right? Meet the problems, etc., the pain point of others. Absolutely. That sweet spot is where your book or your course will reach thousands of other beings too. But I strongly believe that the first step is to turn inside and ask yourself that question I've just mentioned. So maybe if you are about to give up, take a step back, remind yourself, what was that book you wanted to write for yourself? Untangle all the expectations, beliefs, etc., which got caught up in the flow of your very unique creativity. So really, the invitation is to, and of course, I hear Elizabeth Gilbert's words. I haven't just re-given her words or her questions, but I know that both those mentors I talked to did read her book, Big Magic, and that is all about what I shared in my own words today. So that might actually be a next resource if you feel in need for some more, then read the book from Elizabeth Gilbert called Big Magic. But I now started to mention her because I want to say the invitation really is not to abandon and neglect an idea, just as you wouldn't neglect your friend or your pet. And that's very much from her. But keep remembering the soul of the idea. Remember its very spark. This is the part where you say, I just have to write this book, do this course, big and bold, shameless. And you know the next step. That's the last thing I'm going to say of my three things for you today. You know the next step. Saying I don't know is a lie. It holds us back from going forward. It protects us from having to go forward. But if we just say yes to yes, I know the next step, however teeny tiny it is, even if the next step is to, I don't know, go to the hairdressers and change your haircut. If the next step is to take a whole day break, if the next step is to do that one phone call, to read that one book, to to cook your favorite meal, to meet up with a friend, to whatever the teeny tiny next step is, massage your feet, finish knitting those socks. But can you feel something changes if we spend a lot of time telling ourselves, I don't know the next step, I don't know what the next step is. But what if you just change that and say, yes, I know what the next step is from moment to moment to moment. I personally experienced that to be one of the most powerful ways to empower myself. Yes. So these were the three soulful practices to meet worries and doubts and turn them into joy and trust. So I say them again. It's to say, yes, I don't give up. As poetic and pragmatic, with great love and a cheeky smile. 2, ask yourself this one question. Let's stay with the book idea. What is the book I'm asked to write? What is the book I have to write for myself? What is the book my inner child, she wants to write? Give her the microphone and let her tell you. And thank you, Elizabeth Gilbert. And 3rd, say, yes, I know the next step always, how teeny tiny and weird and ridiculous it seems, and go and do it. And just because we like lots of lists of tools, what more I could share is just very pragmatic tools which help me in these moments where I'm overwhelmed by worries and fears. I do a practice called EFT, Energy Freedom Technique. I'm sure most of you have heard about it. It's this tapping technique. And YouTube it, Energy Freedom Technique. EFT tapping. It's a wonderful way to quickly transform stuck energies and get into a flow again. Release and relief. It works with your nervous system and important neurological points. Don't ask me the science about it, but it works. EFT, if you haven't heard about it, Google it. There are amazing explanations on YouTube. You could, for example, type in EFT to work with fears, to work with worries, etc. Breathing. Recommit to any breathing technique, or just sit down and breathe. Watch your breath. Put your hands onto your lower belly and just notice the movement of your breath. That really helps us to get out of the way of the breathing. Don't think about, I need to change my breath or breathe in there. Just notice the movement. Notice how the breath is moving your hands. And move. Go for a run, go for a walk, do yoga, dance. These are 3 very pragmatic things which help us to get out of the head and anchor in our body again. So, yes, your next steps are to give a try to what I shared. Maybe journal about these questions right now. Download an EFT podcast, an EFT video on YouTube and do it. Maybe commit to a 10 minutes daily breathing moment for yourself. And just before we end, there is still my free mini course available on my webpage, which will be birthed into something new in the new year. So if you want to check that out, then go and enjoy and please share your feedbacks and your thought about it, your lived experience about it with me. And I just want to say a huge thank you for being with me today. And I would love to hear your takeaways from this episode. So you can always tag me in social media at Florina Tali, or you can write to me in an email, softrebellion@florinatali.com. I mean it. I would love to hear from you. This is a conversation, and also let me know what topics you would like to be covered or explored, what guests you would like me to invite to, if you would like to be a guest on the podcast. If you know anyone who you think, she might enjoy this episode, please forward it, share it with your circles, share it on Instagram, on social media. Follow me on wherever podcast platform you are listening to. That really helps me to spread the Soft Rebellion podcast. Leave a comment, a review. I'll be with you next week with another guest episode, and I just feel so much love right now for this little growing community, for the Soft Rebellion, and my heart peace. And I want to say, go and be your unique and be your wonderful self, and I send you so much love.